Hey guys, so I decided before leaving vacation I would do at least one more video as a final video while I'm here, and I decided to do a top 10 list that I've wanted to do for a while. And what with the whole rumor about Jodie Whittaker leaving after the 2022 New Year's special, I decided now would be the best time to do it. I know Series 13 hasn't come out yet, but I'm going to go ahead and doing the episodes as of right now. I might change this list when that series comes out, but as of right now, these are my top 10 favorite episodes, top 10 episodes of Jodie Whittaker's time as the Doctor. Okay, now some rules. Number 10 is the bottom, 1 is the top. So, without further stalling, let's begin. Okay, number 10, Kablam. Kablam is an episode that I've talked about beforehand, and it's basically the Doctor, Ryan, Graham, and Yaz are investigating a distribution center that is allegedly under attack. We find out though that it's actually the distribution center network computer thing itself calling for help, because it's one of the workers who works there basically is planning to send explosive bubble wrap to several homes, and basically the first thing when someone pops bubble wrap, basically is gonna pull a killer queen from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 4 and basically kill a person that basically plans to blow up several people, but the Doctor thwarts that, and you basically get to see them interact with this person who you don't expect to be the villain, and it's actually a really great twist. I'm not gonna spoil it for you if you haven't seen it. I just suggest you go and watch it. So, also I'm trying to be as quiet as possible. My family are already asleep, but I'm gonna do this video. I don't care. Alright, number 9, Rosa, which is another episode that I've already talked about in my top 10 modern episodes of Doctor Who video. Go and watch that if you haven't. But Rosa is basically one of the times you get to see Ryan, Graham, and Yaz essentially working as a team with the Doctor to not only stop the person that is trying to create a divergence in history and basically undo what happens in the future. And it turns out that they do all they can to make sure that history remains intact, and to where it turns out that Graham is the last white person standing, and basically Rosa is required to stand to give way to Graham. But of course, we know in history Rosa did not stand up and give up her seat, which was needed to bring in the civil rights movement. And speaking of, you actually do get to see Martin Luther King for a bit in the episode, because you get to see Graham, Ryan, and Rosa basically interact, and basically as I said in the top 10 of the modern Doctor Who episodes, the person who got to play Rosa Parks nails it. She is amazing as that part, and you got to see the Doctor interact with famous historical events and other points in history, like the fires of Pompeii and things like that. But you basically get to see, this is the first time she's directly involved with a conflict. Well, I think the first time. There might have been others, but I can't think of them at the moment. But you see just the disparity in not only Jodie's performance, but also Mandip, Gail's performance, who is Yaz. They don't want to be a part of it, but they know that they have to in order to keep history intact. And that's anguish that apparently a lot of people actually don't see, mostly. If you can watch Rosa, the episode Rosa, and tell me that you don't like it, I don't want to know you as a person. How could you see that episode and not feel something, especially during that moment. I will admit and I'll rise up a million times again. That was my only nitpick. I will admit I didn't like that song. It didn't seem fitting. But other than that, like, this is a great episode. And I will fight anyone who disagrees with me on that. Number 8, it takes you away. Yeah, another episode that you get to basically see, like, Ryan and, like, the companions take on their own. Ryan and Graham take on their own in this episode. Because you basically get to see Graham addressing the loss of Grace, who he lost in another episode on this list. And you basically get to see the interaction of 13 and Yaz getting closer because, well, she doesn't get much screen time, Yaz does very much so have good chemistry with the Doctor, as well as with Graham in a few episodes, and with Ryan in a few episodes, like in Rosa, the episode I just mentioned. And, like, basically, it takes you away about these. The Doctor and Fab go to this house in Norway, and it's basically it hides a portal to a parallel universe with a monster that I'm not going to try and say the name of. I don't remember it, but because it's been a while since I've seen that episode. But basically, the Doctor basically knows what the monster is and knows how to take it down. So they enter the portal universe that's through a mirror, going through a pocket dimension to get to the other side, to the other dimension, and basically confronts the monster that takes the form of the person you've lost. Not like the Army of Ghosts episode, but similar. And it almost convinces Graham to stay, but the Doctor ends up, as well as the person that the kid's father that was missing, and she took the monster took the form of the girl's mother, and he almost stays as well, but she basically is like, the Doctor convinces both of them to leave, and the Doctor almost ends up getting trapped in the parallel universe until the universe gets unstable. So she's forced to go back to the other universe, leaving the monster trapped there. And the anguish you see in Jodie's face when she's like, one of the most brilliant people in the universe, and I'll never talk to them again. And the fact that they got, it takes the form of Grace, who is Ryan's grandma and Graham's wife, because Graham is Ryan's step grandfather, and that basically comes into effect later on. But it's what starts the dynamic between the two of them from what it was in another episode on this list to what it eventually becomes in another episode on this list. I'm not going to tell what though. Then number 7. Speaking of character development, the episode, basically in Series 11, features the most about Yaz, Demons of the Punjab. The Demons of the Punjab is basically you get to, the Doctor and Fam go back and basically meet the woman who goes on to become Yaz's grandmother, and basically you get to see what happened during that episode, and get to see why Yaz's grandma left India and what she meant by when she said she gave her the pocket watch she had from that episode from back then, and why she said she's the first woman married in Pakistan, and what happened to the person she originally married that wasn't Yaz's grandfather. And it's good character development for Yaz. I will admit she doesn't get much in Series 11, but she does have development. And and number 5, Spyfall, the first episode of the Series 12. Now, I know that there are mixed opinion on Series 12. I actually rather like Series 12. Also, if you hear something in the background, I have the TV going. That's just to get background noise. So, it's not loud enough that you can hear it, but if you notice someone talking, that's what it is. And Spyfall not only is it the first episode of Series 12, and what I think is one of the best of the current era, say what you will about it, and I love the fact that it's a two-parter, because there's not that many two-parters in the current era, and which is a shame, because I love two-parters, but like, you not only get to see like more of the teamwork development of 13 and Fab, but you also get to see like, not only do you get to see the return of the Master, which I was thrown for a loop when they thrown that in. I was like, wait, excuse me? The Master? Because he was originally, they basically pull a family of blood because the Master has his memory, actually no, it wasn't wiped. Basically, actually no, the Smith and Jones, the family of blood was another episode that's on this list. I'm not going to tell when though. But basically, the O is basically a person who started off as someone who's has tabs on the Doctor, and basically is the person that's so first informs Graham about the Doctor being a man originally, and basically throws up the idea of the Doctor being secretive, which she is in this series, and that's a good thing, because the Doctor needs to be semi-secret because they were in classic era and semi in new era, which is a good thing personally. And the twist that the O was the Master, I loved that twist, and honestly, I loved that episode. Ironically, I watched it when watched it when I was sick, which, I mean, without watching it back again, it's great. And so yeah, that's episode 5. That's number 5. Number 4, the first installment of Jodie Whittaker's Time as the Doctor. Her first episode, The Woman Who Fell to Earth. You get to basically see how 13, right from where Once Upon a Time leaves off, and how she meets the fam, how she meets her clothing, and the first time she stops a monster, which is Tim Shaw. And Tim Shaw is a monster that comes back, a monster that comes back in the Battle of Rough Kolos. I don't know if I talked about it enough. I don't remember. I'm just trying to get through this video. But Battle of Kolos is basically the episode that establishes what becomes a semi-story arc for the season, which some people can view as a bad thing. I personally view it as a bonus, because people want to say that it hashed out a plot line. I can argue with that. Yeah, but so did Davies and Moffat. And I'm not gonna I'll do a whole separate video on that tangent. Okay, number 3. This is probably going to be very controversial for some people, because I know there's a lot of people that don't like this episode. I rather like this episode, mainly because of the implications it has. Fugitive of the Judoon. Not only is it the return of the Judoon, which is one of the best monsters of the Davies era, and it also brings back Jack Harkness, with Captain Jack Harkness, which John Bowman literally has not aged a day since that episode, since his last appearance in Series 4. And at first I was a little hesitant, if 13 and Jack ever met, but thanks to another episode that's on this list, I'm not going to tell when though, but basically it's that whole plot line of the Doctor trying to stop the Judoon, and Jack warning the Doctor about what becomes the Lone Cyberman, which is not on this episode, which is not on this list. I was mixed about that episode. I'll need a whole separate video to talk about that, but like it's the returning of a classic character that I personally was like I was stunned when they brought him back, and so that's pretty much all I have to say about that episode. I said more about it in the original episode, but I'm just trying to get this in the original video that I made of this, but I'm just trying to get this video out at this point. Okay, number 2. I had a different episode for this list, for this part, but number 2, the second episode of the 13th Doctor, The Ghost Monument, which, quite frankly, is a great second adventure for the Doctor and her companions to go on, because not only is it establishing the first time the Doctor and crew go off-world, but it's also like seeing how the Doctor works with people she interacts with in this new way. And like Jodie, I've said before, she establishes herself as the Doctor right away with series 11, because this episode's one of the highlights. Like, for example, you basically get to see like her comedic timing with Ryan when basically he goes all of duty, and the Doctor basically goes, no guns, I detest them, and then he goes and tries to basically do the whole thing with the whole Call of Duty thing, and basically almost kills himself almost gets himself killed in the process, and the Doctor goes, the Doctor basically chews him out on it, and Ryan goes, don't go on about it. I will go on about it a lot, which is a great like comedic banter. And you not only get to see the Doctor helping these two characters who are in a race to get to the finish line, which happens to be on the planet that they're on. And the Ghost Monument of the episode's title is actually the TARDIS. And like with the Doctor and crew are actually abandoned on the planet for a small stint, and it nearly looks hopeless until you hear the of the TARDIS, and the Doctor, pulling out her sonic screwdriver, goes, please, come to me, come to mommy, come to daddy, mommy, I really need you right now. And like, there are like several episodes on this list that, how can you tell me that you don't like the 13th Doctor when there's episodes like this? As well as honorable mention, before I get to number 1, Revelation, which is the series 11 New Year special. And I was gonna have it on this list, but I'm like, no, I want to reference the Ghost Monument, which is why I put it on it and on here. And number 1, the latest episode of Doctor Who that came out, and arguably is currently my favorite episode of Doctor Who of the 13th Doctor era. Number 1, Resolution of the Daleks. Not to be confused with the one of the Colin Baker era, which I have seen. It's a great episode, but we're talking about the New Year special. Honestly, it just does so many things right. Not only one, do you get to see the continuation from the Timeless Children, when the Doctor is basically put into prison by the Jadoon, and you get to see a returning face with not only cameos of the Weeping Angels, the Silence, of the Ood, of the Patang from Series 11, which I will admit, I actually like that episode, but I'm not talking about it in this list. But then you also get to see the first time the Doctor and 13 and Jack reuniting after several years, and it's like no time had passed since the last time he was on screen with Tennant. And quite frankly, that's one of the best parts of the episode. I've seen reviews saying that it sucks. Up yours if you think it does. Up yours if you think that Resolution of the Daleks sucks. I will fight you on this. resolution not only is the first time that we get to see Ryan and Graham, we get to see a companion leave the TARDIS willingly on their own accord since Martha back in series 3. And quite frankly, it also addresses, like, yes, we're not gonna, like, yes, the time this child happened, we're not gonna deny it didn't, but we can move on from it. And, like, I'll mention this about the time this child. It wasn't the best episode. It wasn't the worst. Hellbent was the worst. I know people like Hellbent, but I don't. Also, let me just go on a tangent here. I hated the One-Way Bride. I thought it was worse than the Thomas Child. You can also fight me on that. But again, we're not talking about those episodes on this list. We're talking about Resolution of the Daleks, which, quite frankly, this episode not only has, like, 13 come back and, you know, confront what happened with the Timeless Child, as well as, like, get to see the emotional, like, conflict that happened due to not only Yaz, the Doctor, essentially not, like, almost abandoning the fam back on Earth without a way to contact or find her, but Yaz never gives up on trying to. And meanwhile, Ryan and Graham are just like, come on, you need to get on with your life. Yaz is fully committed to waiting for the Doctor to come back. And then when you hear after Jack breaks 13 out of prison, which is amazing, which is an amazing bit of the episode, you basically hear when the three companions hear the TARDIS come back for the first time. Ryan's basically over it in the whole episode, so basically he's basically like, and then Grandma's like, you know, shocked, like really? And then Yaz is like, please, give me this. And you know, the whole that. And when 13 steps out of the TARDIS and is like, hi fam, you missed me? And then, like, Yaz is happy to see the Doctor for a second, but then that also turns to hurt because, you know, she is, which is understandable. Like, she's rightly mad at the Doctor, and I've already mentioned this in my review of the episode. But so basically, I'm gonna cut it there. I thought this episode was amazing, and that's why I put it on this list as number 1. What do you guys think of the 13th Doctor? But what is your favorite episode of her tenure? And don't you fucking say that you hated her tenured, or I will block you. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I will be making more episodes about like this in the coming future. And honestly, I can't wait to see what Series 13 has to offer, and I'll be waiting to hear who they decide to cast as 14 after Jodie bows out. So, with that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. And the next time you see me, I'll be back at home. So thank you for watching. I love you guys, and I'll see you when I see you. Bye.